Hi everyone, DLRR here. You can call me D. This is my first video, so please be gentle with me. Now I wanted to create a quick video to talk about the unique I had created Dyadus. You can see my Templar dual wielding them here. I'd created them to represent my boy and girl twins, hence the fire and cold motif. I'd originally asked GGG to put the microtransactions only on the flame blade part of the axe. I'm not sure why it's on the entire dragon. I mean, come on, I want my dragons to breathe fire, not to be on fire, right? So Russell, Rory, if either of you are listening in, please fix this. Thank you very much. Now, I thought it would be useful to create a video to do a proof of concept of the Dyadus burn build. Now, when Dyadus first came out, people went, "Oh no, OP, OP." Well, some people just didn't understand the difference between main hand and offhand. So that's been settled, that's been sorted. Nobody says it's OP anymore. It's now the opposite. Some people are saying it's an elemental axe. Why is their attack speed only 1.44? Everybody wants an elemental weapon that's 2 APS and above. Well, if you wanted a standard elemental spectral throw weapon, a standard elemental cleave or dual strike weapon, sorry, this is not the weapon for you. When I created this, I wanted to replicate a fire trap sort of effect. I was playing a trapper back then. I loved throwing a trap in, seeing things burn. It was fantastic. So why not do something with melee? Why not do a melee build where I can go up, hit a guy a couple of times and see everybody around him burn? So if you look at the way the numbers stack up, I've got Dyadus with about 200 of fire damage. I've got an Anger Aura, currently pretty low level at level 16 with about 100 of fire damage. Given I'm using dual strike, that means I get 2 times of anger. 2 times of anger is 200 fire damage with the original 200 fire damage here, that's about 400. 400 fire damage ties pretty well with Fire Trap. It's pretty close to Fire Trap. Fire Trap, I think at around level 18, it's about 400 if I recall correctly. About level 20 and 21, yes, it does go higher. Let's just take a quick look here. Fire damage, there you go, 380 to 571. So at level 20, you've got about 500 of fire damage. So with Dyadus, Anger Aura, Dual Strike, and a bunch of fire damage on other items, which I do not currently have, you can replicate the same amount of fire damage as a level 20 fire trap. With that, I have on the item I've got 25% chance to ignite, which is kind of like a free chance to ignite link. In my current build, I also have added lightning damage for shock stacks, elemental proliferation of course, weapon elemental damage of course, and some leech. So this is a fire trap that leeches and has no cooldown. Let me just get rid of this guy. I would typically also include melee splash just to increase the amount of increase the AoE damage and the chances to ignite, given the chance to ignite here applies to each enemy hit, but just to show the plain effect of burning alone, I'm intentionally taking melee splash out. You may want to include cold to fire as well. You can see the change to the fire damage goes from 1455 on the main hand and 1094 on the offhand. When I take this off, on the offhand it drops to 460. So the damage differential by including cold to fire is pretty high, especially since my passives tend to cover the fire damage part of it. So I've got Immolation, Firewalker, Holy Fire, Lava Lash, and Arsonist. I've taken all these fire nodes just to support the burn damage of the build. I may also, if I wanted to build this out more properly, consider other defenses such as Eldritch Battery with Mind over Matter and Arctic Armor. And taking these put me in pretty close proximity to damage over time damage nodes. One here, and the one that's next to Eldritch Battery is over, well, here, entropy. So these are other ideas that you can consider as well if you wanted to focus on burn. Now, just demonstrating the burn effect of this build, let's look for a small group. You'll note that I don't have much defenses on my character currently, so excuse the low level area. There you go. That was the burn. Notice I had no melee splash. My melee splash is here. I hit one guy, everybody else dies. Beautiful. Let's find another group. Hope I survive. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. Again, that was without any melee splash. Now let's put in a low level melee splash just to see how that works out. Get a small group here. Like hot knife through butter. So that's the elemental burn build using Dyadus. Just to go through the numbers, I've got about 400 of fire damage, I've got 40% increased burning damage on one item, another 40% here. Just to go through enemies taking increased burning damage, that's a separate multiplier. You add up all the enemies take increased burning damage, or enemies take increased damage, you sum that up all together and that becomes a multiplier in and of itself. So I got 40% here, 40% here. My added lightning damage gives shock stacks, so anywhere between 30 to 90% of shock. Assuming 90%, adding on the 80 I've got here, that comes up to 170% multiplier on burn. I've got a whole bunch of fire nodes that add on to burn as well. And of course, if I had other fire damage in my other items, I will burn even more. So having gone through the burn build, I just wanted to quickly touch on elemental equilibrium, which is something that people have brought up. Elemental equilibrium does seem like it would work very well with this item, given I've got one that does pure fire and one that does pure coal. However, auras, especially in parties, is a problem. I've tried to remove the physical damage. I've dropped Rory an email and of course he's completely ignored me to remove the physical damage just so that this item can be used in parties with hatred. Even though he hasn't responded, I'm not too fussed in the current meta where anger and wrath are so strong. I don't think people will want to go elemental equilibrium. Just as an example of the power of auras, I currently have 3391 of DPS. The moment I remove anger, that goes down to 226. So that's almost 30% of DPS right there. So you probably don't want to go elemental equilibrium in the current meta with such strong auras. I think you can go full burn. I think you can go dual wield. If somebody could spend time, and maybe I will one day when I've got enough currency to deck out this guy with enough gear to for defenses as well as for fire damage on items, and I hope to see more burn builds about. I hope you found this video informative. Feel free to contact me on PM on the forums. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Alright guys, take care, have fun, see you next time.